everyone, welcome to Weekend Project. Thanks for joining us. I'm Laura Lynn of the Mama Pop Quilt Shop. We're working on a funny kind of wall hanging today, just a small one. It's a bunch of 9 patches together. There we go. There we go. We're just going to do 3 of these in a row and 3 down, do 9 of them, and we're going to make it kind of cute. It's called a runaway block. It's called Hanging in There. It's quiltcubby.com. That's where I got the idea from. And they do have a little pattern there, but I think you have to pay for it, so I just kind of winged it myself because I'm smartsies like that, I think. So anyways, you take 2.5-inch squares, or 2.5-inch strips, sorry, 2.5-inch strips, okay? All these are 2.5, and you sew them together, okay? This is going to end up giving you a 6.5-inch square when finished. So you know you'll need 2 of these and 1 of the other type when you have the blue on the outsides, the white in the center, and then you cut your 2.5. So it's super easy, right? Okay, so you just make sure you're measuring up. Tidy your little junk pile here because I got all sorts of things going on here, okay? Just measure it up. And use complementary, like contrasting fabrics. The one here that we're going to try and finish up, I've used, I think it was, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different fabrics in it. And I just kind of mixed the blocks around. I had some consistency with it, like the black being in the center and the 2 blacks being on the outside, but I just kind of mixed up. This was just a 2-tone of white and blue, and I used some of my sewing fabric, and this one's actually I'm going to make this one for me for the shop, and this one is actually for a gift. Okay, so you just kind of do your 2.5-inch strip, just like that. So I pulled on there. Okay, so 2.5-inch like that, and then you're just going to sew them together. Okay, so I'll sew one together here for you so you can see. So you're going to use that, your single one on the outside, and then your 2, and then a single. Okay, that's how I was remembering. And then these ones were the 5 packs, right? Because it was 2, a single, and then a 2. Okay, so you can sew them in any way you like. Make sure when you're lining up your seams that you kind of flip to the dark on either one, and you want to wiggle them because you want to make sure you get really precise corners, right? You really want to make sure you do that. So flip to the dark. Make sure your seams are separated like that. Put a pin in if you need. It does give the it's better effect if you have them so they're all lined up. Okay. So flip that way. Flip that one that way. Oops, pins are running away from me here. Okay, and then we're just going to sew right down that seam line, and then we're going to add to the other side. We're going to sew down that one. Okay, so put it under here. Do a little stitch. Do not sew over your pins. I actually got sidetracked and ended up putting all the blocks together, and I was like, wait a second, I need one to show you guys. I'm to take it apart. It was weird because I didn't do anything wrong, and yet I was ripping it out. I was like, what's with that? Seems wrong to me. Why am I doing this? It's a perfectly good block. All right, so there we go. And now we're just going to add our 1 on the other side just like that. So you get to end up with a 5-pack and a 4-pack to do your 9 patches. If that 5 and a 4 make 9, I guess. I don't know. There's some math to it somewhere. And I like this one because it wasn't too big. I mean, you can do your strips instead of 2.5. You can do 5, 6, 8, 10, whatever you like. Make this a huge wall hanging instead of just this tiny one. So, but I really liked it, and I've been wanting to do it for a little while. And I thought, you know what? I think it'd be kind of cute for Mother's Day. Little giggle to the moms, or you know, the dads who are also moms. You know, I know it's a big role to play. My mom played the role of my father all my life, so she's the only parent I have. There we go. So there's our little pack, and of course you want to press over here. Okay, and then you're going to add a 6.5-inch strip on the right-hand side, okay? So you're going to go and add 1 of these little strips, whichever color you choose. Don't choose something that's white or blue, because you really want it to be that little accenty color to kind of frame out all those 9 patches that you got going on, right? Like I did for the red one here. So you can really see the difference, the contrast really of the, I kept it all within the same color range. That's why I thought, you know, I'll choose this beautiful yellow that I like. It's got beautiful stars in it. It's from Moda, or that I do know. Sometimes my scrappy bits don't actually have who it's from or where it's from on it. So this one actually had some. And you just want to sew it to the right-hand side. So we're going to do the second row, which is, I'll show you the first row that I've already got done. So I've got the 5, the 4, and then the 5. So the next row I'm going to do is a 4, a 5, and a 4, okay? So here's our 4. And of course, on the first one, you want to make sure you have a strip on the left-hand side of it and the right-hand side of it, and then the other ones are just, the other 2 are just the right-hand side, okay? So make sure we're doing this correct here. And then you want to press. You want to press those seams. I've been more diligent lately on pressing my seams. It's all good. Practice makes perfect. So they say. Okay. So that would be a 4, a 5, and then we'll have to do another 4, which is here. We'll have to do this. Oh, I already sewed the side onto that one, so we can use that one. Okay, sew that on, and then we'll give it a press. And then we're going to sew it to the bottom of this one. And we only want one border, one little sashing in between. So you can either sew it onto the top or the bottom or what have you, or either side of the middle, you know, it all has to get done, so. And I'm just using a nice neutral creamy white thread to keep it nice and simple. Okay, I'm gonna move my little pressing, sorry, stand up here. Just want to press this out before you add it to your top. Okay, you want to take those 2 and making sure that you have your correct patches, that this is your 5. Oops, sorry, did I do that wrong? Oh no, I did 2 5s together. Uh-oh, what a dork. Am I stupid? I had it right this first time around. See? Seam ripping out. Okay. Okay, all right, let's do this right this time. Okay, you're probably laughing, go, Laura Lynn, you grabbed the 4 patch. Was that one there I needed? I mean, it was probably that one. Okay, let's put our little edge on that we need. Do this right. Think about it. All right. There, now that goes to this one. It's like, wait a second, that was not adding up. Not good. And if you have a really dark fabric, you're going to want to try and, when you're sewing, push those little seams to the dark side, because you don't want that dark blue to show through on your white at all. Okay, so there we go. We got our little 4, 5, and 4 done, and then we're going to add it to the bottom of this once I give that edge a press that I didn't press but should have pressed. There we go. Okay, now we'll just add that onto here, trying to line up. I know this is hard because I was kind of fighting with it with the red one here. It's trying to make sure that these little seams are going to be right on and not, like, you know, really askew, okay? So what I found is that Clive clearly wants his minutes of fame. I swear he hears the camera start. Okay, so we're going to set it right here. And trying to just visually line it up and then just do a flip. And I guess you can still, you know, bring it down here, match up those seams, and then just tug it up to where it's going to be, I guess. I mean, I was trying to fiddle with the other one, and that's how I kind of got it to work a little bit better for me. Okay, so then you're just going to pin those together. So now the, the third row is kind of the complicated row because you're only going to have 2 squares in it, because I'll show you here right now so you can see what we're doing. Okay, because you're going to have your little guy trying to escape. He's going to, like, it's the hang in there, the runaway block sort of thing. I used buttons for eyes and just batting for the legs and the arms. And I just did a whole stitch array all the way around, did it all the way around here, and then I'm going to do some hand stitching in here because I'm actually going to hand stitch the majority of this quilt. Actually, I'm hand stitching all of this quilt together. Okay, so I've just come up with the red, and I'll show you how to do that. But so we're doing the second here, and then we're going to do the third. So these two we're going to do the same, and we're going to add the strip down here, and then we're going to end up adding a strip here because this is what we're going to cut out once we stitch this down, and that gives the whole effect of the block trying to run away, okay? So let's just tuck that there so you can see it, okay? And we'll pin this and get it sewn, okay? And I guess actually, you know what? If you line up on the bottom here, if it's longer than that, you should be okay. That's actually, I don't know why I didn't notice that before. Maybe I didn't, just forgot about it. Yeah, it's really weird if they're all angled off. You're like, okay, what's wrong with those blocks? Or what's wrong with this picture sort of thing, right? Okay, so we got one there. Okay, we're just gonna sew that one. You're gonna get runned over there, little cat. Yeah, I see you. You're gonna get run over though. Silly feline. Just a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I found it went together really fast. You know, obviously I was making 2 of them and was just puttering away. Because it's so small, I guess. You know, it's just a small little wall hanging. Ends up being what, 23 by 23, or I think 23 by 23, 23 by 24, something like that. Not very big. And I added an extra white border on mine by 2 inches, so all the way around. Okay, so there's our first and our second row together. Okay, we're going to give that a little press. And I don't think we did too bad on those seams. What do you think? Trying to line those up. I don't think we did too bad. So now we're going to want to do the 2 over here to have this block escape. It depends on whichever way you want the top to be. I mean, it's your choice. If you have directional fabric, that's probably a good idea to make sure, you know, if you wanted to make sure like all the sewing machines were in the right direction or what have you. I mean, it's completely up to you. There's baskets, there's sewing. To me, it's whatever. It doesn't matter to me. Okay. It's all over the place. Okay, so if that's a 5, that'll go there. And then we need another 5 and our 4. Okay, so this guy will be the escapee. Okay, and we're going to have to sew these 2 together via their strip. Okay, and then we'll have to put another strip on the outside of this guy, because he still acts as the piece that's needed. I think we're short a piece. I may have fallen. Because we need one for the strip on the outside here. And I did make sure that these all squared up at 5.5. Makes them easier to go together if you just take a few moments to square them up. Because even just doing a 9 patch can get a little wonky. Okay, so that was the 5, that was to go there. This is the other side of the 4. And why I say 5 and 4 is because it's the prominent color that's in that block. This is 5 blocks, that's 4 blocks, if that makes any sense. We all have our own weird, wacky ways. So hopefully this is a beautiful Mother's Day weekend for you guys, and happy Mother's Day. I know it's always sometimes a wacky weather-wise. You never know what you're going to get. Snow, hail, depending on where you're going. I'm just hoping for sunshine. Sunshine and crepes. We're going to go visit some family, and I thought about bringing my waffle maker because we love our waffle maker so much. Okay, so there's the 2 to add here. We're going to add this piece to the bottom of here, and then we're going to attach those 2 to it, okay? And then we're going to pretty much end up with exactly what I have going on there. Just not battinged and backinged. Okay. I didn't put it on lead foot Larry today. It's not at max. I mean, the pedal may be all the way down, but the machine's not all at max. I probably was a little rough on it. All right, so now we're gonna give that a little press to make sure. Oops, sorry, buddy. Stepped on your tail there, or just got the tip of the hairs. Okay, so I'll show you the, oops. Oops, sorry about that. Thank you very much, Pop. Rubber off the iron slipped off. Okay, so there we go. Now you have to make sure you're remembering which way you're having this. If this is which row is next. So you got your 5, and then your 4, and then your other 5. Okay, so there we go. I was gonna say we should have one more, which is this is how it's gonna end up going. So we're gonna sew this here and sew this onto here, and then we're gonna sew this all the way down onto the bottom, leaving this guy out. Okay, leaving this section right here. So here, and this is another time where you want to try and make sure you're lining up those seams. Well, you're lining up the one seam at least, okay? There, and the 2 there. Hopefully, it matches up. Okay. And this is small enough you can hand quilt or even just quilt on your machine. It's completely up to you. Get a walking foot or a free motion foot, or, you know, just do some straight stitches. And you want to come all the way to the end and do a little back stitch, okay? Because that is going to be a raw edge around your block, and you're going to end up stitching that down, okay? So there we go. We're working it, okay? And we'll add our little piece down here. This one I pinned just to make sure it wasn't going to move on me, because it is just, you know, 1.5 inches. If you happened to watch last weekend's weekend project, the Amsterdam quilt, there was a little tidbit on there and kind of saving corners and making other little bits out of them. I ended up with quite a few. This is what I ended up just from the tulips. Just the tulips that I was making, that it was just the stitch and then folding it over and then so on and so forth. Look at all those little ones. May just make it into a quilt one day. Maybe. Not sure. Okay, so there's our piece. It's hanging down. Now we want to put our last bit of our sashing along this line, and we're going to stitch it down. Okay. And then I'll show you how I came up with how to finish it off the easiest way, to my knowledge anyways. That wouldn't complicate my little brain. So, and then down here, okay, just like that. And you're like, okay, that seems so weird. And it is a little weird, but it's fun. It's all fun. And he's such a cute little guy. The first time I saw him, he was posted on Facebook, and I think I laughed, like I laughed out loud, because I'd never seen anything like it before. And I thought, oh, that's just so cute. I'm going to make one day. And that was about 3 years ago. When it comes to this bottom one here, I do just a little back tack stitch just to make sure it's not going to come undone. Okay. I'm going to line that edge up there. It's a little weird because you're like, why am I sewing just these little strips together? It's like the weirdest binding tape ever. Okay, now you definitely need to give this a press, okay? So I'll stand up and get that done. See, there we go. Okay, isn't that cute? Ta-ta. I hear you, buddy. Okay, there we go. So now the pretty much is at the stage where I am right there. So I made, of course, the little guy, and I stuffed him. I'll show you because I'll unpin him here because you got the effect of what he was going to do. He was going to hang there. So I took my backing. Oh, sorry, I'll sit down. I realize he's got to follow me up and down all the time. So I took my backing and just a chunk of batting and put it out and pinned it together, and then just sewed him all the way around and then trimmed it. And then made the little arms and the legs out of just batting. It's the same, it's what he's made out of because he's an escapee block. So you just kind of want to do it like a, like you would, like, what was it, the Camden bowl bag, okay? So you're folding this edge in, you're folding that edge in, and you're gonna fold those two folded edges together and then just do a stitch down. That's exactly what I did right down there. I didn't go all the way to the end because I kind of want that to be able to fold up under here to give that effect that he's just hanging on. He's just barely hanging in there, okay? So that's how I did that. That's how I made the legs and the arms. And then to give it a little bit dimension of the feet, I just folded it up on about 3/4 of an inch and then just gave a couple little stitches in there, and he kind of gives little feeties. At least to me, he kind of looked like he had feeties. See, he's dancing. Okay, so he's kind of cute. Anyways, so, and then I'm actually going to use silver binding or the gray binding here, fabric here to do the binding on the outside. I don't think I have enough red. I think actually that's the last of the red. So, and that's how I did him, and then put a little, you can do googly eyes or buttons for the eyes, whatever makes you happy. And then to do the same, exactly like if I'm treating it as if it was a whole solid quilt top, not just like this, right? So, and I'm going to hand stitch together. And then I'm going to come hand stitch all the way down and around here, and then I'm going to cut that out very, very carefully because I don't want to cut anything else. I don't want to cut anything, you know, that doesn't need to be cut, right? So, all right. So that's pretty much how I'm going to do that and keep trucking along with my project. So check it out at the end of the video, and there'll be a little picture of it, at least mostly done anyways. I'll work on it, I promise. And then I'm just doing a little hand stitch up the sides here. I've got some beautiful variegated red thread right here. So it looks like almost like cranberries or cherries or something like that. And I thought that would be a nice little tone to go with the quilt here. I thought that would be nice and pretty because it's got a little bit of different colors, and it would go up different shades around here and so on and so forth. So I'm going to stitch up both sides and down both sides here, hand stitching. I'm going to hand stitch down the side here. I may do something in the edge here. I'm not entirely sure, but I'll also go across and across on each of these squares with my red thread. So I probably just will go across. I'm not sure if I'll go down, but I will definitely be going around as I'm going down, up and down the sashing and stuff like that. It would also look really cute with a couple of cornerstones or cobblestones, whichever they would call those, because I think the cornerstones are up here and the cobbles are in here, but not 100%. So I don't know, I just thought it was a really cute little project and not too bad to whip together, and a great gift for somebody who could probably use some cheering up, just hanging in there, right? Some people are just hanging in there. Okay, thanks everybody for watching. Really, really appreciated the likes and subscribes and comments. If you have any questions or suggestions or you want to see something else, we are going to do a Dresden and we are going to do a Bargello. Totally interested in those ones. And it's on the list. It's the long list. Keeps growing every time I see a new quilt. And of course, there's the library quilt, and then there's like the Lone Star quilt. There's hundreds. That's hundreds. Thanks, everybody. Take care, and don't forget to watch Long Arm Wednesday. Bye.